So, a very good afternoon to all. So, in the last lecture, we discussed about the different ages of different technologies and development of biomedical instrumentation. In today's lecture, we will see the man instrumentation system. So, what it is? Man instrumentation system. So, instrumentation is nothing but a branch, so which is used to measure the different parameters. Okay, and by obtaining those parameters, we can analyze the system, or we can analyze the different parameters. Okay, and from that we can have some control. Whereas man instrumentation system, which is nothing but it is the instrumentation system which is used to measure the biological parameters of the human beings. So here the man in the sense is used for human being. Okay. So there are many types of systems can be found in living human beings. So for the human beings, that is living human being, you can find out number of systems, okay, such as electrical, mechanical, acoustical, thermal, chemical, optical, hydraulic, pneumatic, etc. Okay, so in this, each system or each type of the system will interact with each other. Okay, so if suppose you can see the mechanical system. So mechanical system is nothing but your hand is operating mechanically, and acoustical. So acoustical is nothing but your ear. Okay, and optical. So it is related to your eye. Like that, there are number of types, a number of systems are present in living human being. Okay, so and all these systems will be interrelated. So the output of one of the system, which is impact of the which makes the other systems maybe operate. Like that, the number of inputs and outputs which are interrelated by the process of the mind. Okay, so it also contains a powerful computer. So several types of communication systems and a great variety of control systems. So our human body or human being system is having a powerful computer. So powerful computer is nothing but our brain, and several types of communication systems. So there are number of the information passes, the signals which are generated from the brain, and these signals which are generated at different parts of the body will be travels through the different parts of the body. So for that we have communication systems. Like that we have, and also we have control systems. So how we have to able to move this hand freely. Okay, up to what level we have to move. Suppose I have to lift my hand from table to some 3 centimeters. Up to that particular centimeter, I am have to lifting. So it means we have some control system. So great variety of control systems will be present. Okay, for measuring the inputs and outputs of these systems, an engineer must know the relationship between each of these systems. Okay, so to measure the any type of the system, suppose we have to measure the inputs, we have to know the inputs and what are the outputs of each system, and how these inputs and outputs of different systems have the relationship with each other. So that should be know the relationship should be known by an engineer. Okay, so for that we have to consider human being is a black box. Okay, so it is a black box model. Okay, for the black box model, it means we will give some inputs and it will provide output. We don't bother about what is the present in the black box model. So our human body is considered as a black box model. Okay, so for the black box model, we will give number of inputs and it will produce us the outputs, number of outputs. Irrespective, we don't know how these are interrelated. Okay, so like that, our human body is nothing but a block box model. Okay, so it is having number of it will receive the number of inputs, it will produce the number of outputs. And as an engineer, we have to know how the each system will be interrelated and what is the relationship between one function, one system to another system. Okay. So the overall system, which includes both human organism and then instrumentation required for measurement of the human, is called man instrumentation system. Okay. So the system, overall system, that is nothing but man and instrumentation system is nothing but it is having the human organism. Okay. So human beings. Okay. And instrumentation system. And a combination of these two will be considered as a man instrumentation system. An instrumentation system is defined as the set of instruments and equipments which are used to measurement of one or more characteristics of the phenomenon. Okay, so we can say instrumentation is nothing but measuring, which is used for the measurement of the different parameters. Those parameters may be general parameters are temperature, pressure, flow, level. Okay, so if you comes to the human being measurements, so we have to measure the blood pressure, BP pressure, temperature, okay, blood flow and heart rate, oximeters by using oximeter, pulse rates. All these are the different parameters. These are the different parameters are required while measuring the by using the instrument for the human beings. Okay, so for such purpose we are using the instrumentation system. So with that instrument system, we can also have the ability to present the information what we are obtained by using the instrumentation system. We can also display or record that information. Okay, we can present on the display devices, or we can record on a recorders. It may be strip chart recorders like that. Okay, so it is able to produce um, the it will be able to get the information from the human being, and after that it will be able to present in a display system, or we can record system. We can make record of that information, and whenever we are required, we can retrieve that information. Like that, the instrument system will be used. In addition to that, in some cases, it also contains a stimulus or drive to one or more of the inputs to device being measured. So in some cases, we have to apply some external voltage or pulses in terms of the electrical signals. Those should be applied to the patient. Suppose by using the pacemakers and defibrillators, we can apply some external electrical signals to the patient when he is in a critical situation. Okay, so in such a way that the instrumentation system is able to not only gathering the information, so it will be able to provide the some sort of electrical signals or like some sort of pulse signals to the patient to recover from the critical situation. So like that we have some stimulus, and also to drive the one or more inputs to the other systems. Okay. So like this, the instrument system, suppose we have an instrument system, from that we can apply that information to other devices, and also have an automatic control system. So an instrument system should have an automatic control system, okay, within the system or entire system. So based upon this control system only, it will be able to apply the signals. So based upon the apply by the gathering of the information from the human being, according to that, what type of the action should be taken. So that will be controlled by the control system. So it is also present in the instrumentation system only. The man instrumentation system must also include the human subject on whom the measurements are being made. So man instrument system is especially suitable for the measurement of the human beings. Okay, so human being also is part of this man instrumentation system. So what are the main objectives of the man instrumentation system? So what purpose we can use this one? Okay. So basically instrumentation system generally fall into one of the following categories, that is information gathering, diagnostic, evaluation, monitoring and control. Okay, so with these five things we can perform with the man instrument system. So first of all, we have to gather the information based upon different types of principles, based upon the different principles of working principles of transducers. So by for collection of the information from the human being, we can use the transducers. We can use the transducers. Those transducers will convert the one form of energy into another form of energy. Okay, so for that purpose we use the transducers. From the transducers we'll get the information from the patient. Okay, after that we have to diagnostic. So we'll see each one. So information gathering. So information gathering system is instrumentation is used to measure natural phenomena and other variables that are aid to his quest for knowledge about himself and the universe in which he lives. It means from the human beings we can collect the information. Okay, by measuring that for measuring of that variables, or we can say it is physiological variables. So for gathering of that information, we will use different types of phenomena. It means measuring phenomena we can use. The next one is diagnostic. So after measurement, we have to detect the what type of the variations should be identified. Okay, in some type of the applications may be used as troubleshooting instrument. The instrument system is also used as a troubleshooting instrument. It means there is some error is occurred uh, in the instrumentation system, and by using this we can identify where is the problem is occurred. Okay. So like that we can also use for the diagnosis purpose. The next one is the evaluation. So after taking the information from the human being, and after that we can identify if there is any deviations from the regular things, and if there how much it is varied. So how much it is deviated from the actual things. So whether it is functioning properly or not. So that will be done by the evaluation. So whether it is producing proper output or not. So that will be done by evaluation. And monitoring. So instrumentation is used to monitor some process or operation in order to obtain continuous or periodic information about the state of the system being measured. So this instrumentation system is used to monitor. So we can use it to monitor the process or operation. So suppose some process is there, okay, and or maybe some operation later we can perform some surgeries. So for that we have to monitor the entire operation. Okay, for that this instrumentation will be provides continuous monitoring. Okay, or maybe some sort of the information should be sent. Okay, so like that we can use the monitoring systems. So monitoring systems will be displays the information and also monitors the actual process. So by using the control, it is some time used to automatically control the operation of system based on changes in one or more of the internal parameters or output of the system. So control purpose is if any one parameter is deviating from its value, then the control system will be provides the some sort of inputs. By that the system will comes under the control. Okay, suppose some surgery was done, that patient was placed in a patient monitoring care unit or ICU unit. So in the ICU care unit, suppose we are monitoring continuously what is the blood pressure, what is the uh, oxygen rate. Okay, oximeter. By using oximeter, we can measure the oximeter. Oximeter, we can measure the oxygen pulse rate. Okay, so if suppose the BP is suddenly rising or the BP was suddenly decreasing, so what type of the action as a doctor or as an engineer should be take? So if the sudden if the sudden decrease in the BP or sudden decrease in the oxygen pulse rate, then we have to use the some ventilator systems to increase his pulse rate. Okay, so like that we can the control system will provides that information. Okay, so automatically controls, it will automatically connects okay, so oxygen supply will be connected to the patient depending upon his pulse rate. So like that the control system also will comes in the man instrument system. So the man instrument system will be able to perform all these objectives. So the classification of biomedical instrumentation. So biomedical instrumentations are classified into two types. One is clinical instrumentation and research instrumentation. So biomedical instrumentation are classified into two types: clinical instrumentation and research instrumentation. So in the clinical instrumentation, it is devoted to the diagnosis, care and treatment of the patients. Moment. Hey, what is about? So clinical in clinical instrumentation, this instrumentation is specially used for diagnosis and some patient care and treatment of the patients. Okay, whereas research instrumentation is used for the development of new technologies. Okay, so and that is applicable and applicable for the human being. So development of different systems, so which are useful for the human beings. Okay. And the clinical instrumentation is designed to be more rugged and easier to use. So you can it is rough and tough type of the equipments, and these are easily you can operate. Whereas research instruments are normally complex and more specialized and designed to provide much higher degree of accuracy and resolution and so on. So research instrumentation, in this the instruments are more complex and they are specialized for particular application only. Okay, and by that application these instruments will have provide higher degree of accuracy and resolution. I think you may know the accuracy and resolution. For the EC people, you may know this, may not be know this accuracy and resolution. So accuracy is nothing but so the degree of closeness, okay, with which the instrument reading is approaches the true value. So the perfect value, so actual value and our measured value both should be matched, equal. Then we can say it is highly accurate system. Suppose by using some instrument, we are measuring some parameter. Suppose we are measuring some temperature. So actual temperature value and our instrument measured value both should be equal. There is no error. Then we can say it is 100% accurate system. And next one is resolution. So resolution is nothing but if you perform number of operations, the number of measurements are done. Suppose we are going to measure a temperature of 50 degrees Celsius by using some temperature measuring instrument. So every time it should be produced as the same value. Okay. Okay. Then it is a accurate system. If the number of times we are measured, it produces nearby values, same values. Okay. Then we can say it is having high precision. High precision. So resolution, high precision. Okay, that is high precision. The resolution is so we can get the perfect values. Okay, so like that we can have some characteristics. Okay, based upon that we can design the instruments in research instrumentation. And the next one is and clinical instrumentation is used by the physician or nurses. These are generally operated or used by the physician or nurses. Here the physician is nothing but the doctors, like that. Okay, and operated the research instruments are operated by skilled technicians whose primary training is in the operation of such instruments. They should have some training. They require some training. Okay, so research instrumentation for operating these instruments, the technicians should have skilled operation. Okay, they have some knowledge and have some skills on that particular instrument. So measurements in biomedical instrumentation are employed can also be divided into two categories. So how can we perform the measurements? That can be divided into two types of the categories. One is in vivo and another one is in vitro. In vivo and in vitro. So in vivo measurement, so we can measure the parameter within the living organism itself. So we can make the measurement, okay, or within the living organism itself. Suppose we have to measure the heart rate. Okay, so for that we can use some stethoscope. Okay, by using stethoscope we can measure the blood pressure. Okay, so suppose we have to measure. Suppose we are okay. This is just this idea. Okay, so we can measure the parameter within the living organism. Okay, and whereas for example, it is a device is inserted into a bloodstream to measure the pH of the blood directly. Suppose we have to measure the pH of the blood. So for that, what we have to do? Suppose we can take the blood from the patient, and after taking that blood, we can send to the lab. Okay, there they can decide the pH of the blood. So that is one method. That is the second method, vitro method. Whereas in this case, we can place the measuring device directly into the blood. Okay, from that we can directly measure the pH value. Whereas in vitro measurement, one performed outside the blood, outside the body. So in vitro measurement, one performed outside the body of human being. Okay. So in this example, what we will do? So measurement of pH of sample that has been drawn from the body of the patient. So by taking the blood from the patient, after that we will perform the or measure the pH of the blood. Okay. So whereas in vivo measurement, directly we will place the device. Okay, and from there only we will get the pH value. So like that we have two types of measuring categories. So up to now we have discussed about the man instrument system. What are the main objectives of man instrument system? So So now we'll see what are the main components of the main components of man instrument system. So actually, the man instrument system, all the components are same as the other instrument system. So we have measuring systems will be there. Okay, general measuring instrument systems. So in such systems, we can measure the temperature in a particular tank, or we can measure the level of a tank. So the main difference between the other measuring systems and the man instrument system measuring systems is only the subject is different. Here the subject is nothing but human being. Subject is here the human being. So from the human being, we will measure the different parameters. For that, we are using the instrumentation system. The main components are subject, so that is human being. From the human being, we have to measure the parameters. That's why that particular human being is considered as subject. So if we can use this word in the biomedical sense, it is nothing but the human being. Okay, subject is human being. The next one is stimulus, transducers, signal conditioning equipment, display equipment, recording data processing unit, control devices. So all these are the main components of the man instrument system. So this particular this man instrument system we can expect in final examination definitely. Okay. So most of the chances are there to get the question on man instrument system, components of the man instrumentation system. This is the block diagram of man instrumentation system. You can see, so man is the our object or subject. Okay, so our subject is the man. So from the man we will collect the information by using the transducers. So transducers are nothing but a devices which are used to convert non-electrical quantities into electrical quantities, or they can be converted from one form of energy into another form of energy. So we will place different electrodes, okay, to measure the different parameters of the human being. Suppose here we will place here we will place some electrodes to measure the heart functionality. Okay, here we will place some transducer to observe the liver variations. Otherwise, we can use some measuring of the pulse rate. Okay, so different types of the transducers, we use the electrodes, and those electrodes will be placed where we have to measure the parameters on the man or human being. So from that we can get the information. Okay, so these transducers will convert that actual information of the body, or the information will convert into electrical form. So from these transducers, the output of these transducers is electrical form of the signal, and that obtained signals will be conditioned, or it will be processed. The signals will be processed by the signal conditioning equipment, or signal conditioning processor, or signal processor. So this signal processor inputs are the electrical form of the signal, and output is also electrical signal only. Whereas for transducers, this may be in terms of the non-electrical form, maybe, okay, and maybe electrical form, but the transducer is a electrical form, and these signals will be processed by using the signal conditioning equipment. In this signal conditioning equipments, we may have the amplifiers, we may have the filters, we may have the attenuators, or signal strength. For the increasing of the signal strength, signal conditioning, or we may process the signals. Different processors may be uses. Okay, by using that we can generate the output signal, and after that that signal will be sent to display system. Here the display system may be 7-segment display you can use, or you can record on the strip chart recorders. Okay, or we can save that information by using memory devices. Or okay, here we have recording and data processing and transmission of the data. So by using we can record that from this signal conditioning equipment, we can save the information by using the memory devices. After the memory devices we can saving, so we can retrieve the information when we have to again read. Suppose we have to read that, or we have to know what happens in particular situation, so that can be retrieved by using these memory devices or recording systems. And after that from the display systems and also signal conditioning system, the information will send to feedback. So depending upon the situation of the patient, so this control feedback system or signal will be sent signals to stimulus. Here we have stimulus. This stimulus will generate these signals, and those signals will be applied to the human being. By the application of this stimulus to the human being, the situation of the patient maybe comes under the control. So for that we have control signals. Okay, so here the processing will be done by the processing. Here the signals will be processed. If the signals are deviated from its normal value, then this processor will generate the signals, and according to that it will send the signals to stimulus, and if the stimulus will generate the signal, and those signals will be applied to the human being. By the application of this stimulus signal, the human being will be the human being will be the parameters of the human being will be comes under the control. Okay, so like this we have a control over the different parameters, and we can also measure the different parameters, and those signals will be processed by using the signal conditioning processor or signal conditioning equipment. And after that we can observe that signals by using display devices. Otherwise we can record those information whenever we have to required to observe. Okay, we can retrieve that signals, and we can also transmit that data. So we can transmit that data to some other hospitals or some other location also. So like this we have the man instrumentation system. So these are the main components of the man instrumentation system. So the first one is subject. The subject is human being on which the measurement are to be done. Human being is considering as subject, which makes a difference from the other instrumentation systems. So because we are doing the measurement on the human being, that's why the subject is nothing but the human being. This is the main difference from the other instrumentation systems. Suppose in industries we can also measure the different parameters, temperature, pressure. Okay, so there also we can use the same type of the arrangements, that is the same type of the components. So from the other type of instruments and the biomedical instrumentation system or man instrumentation system is by this change of the subject or man. Okay, that is mainly difference. And next one is stimulus. So in any type of measurement, the response to some form of external stimulus is required. So whenever responses are to be measured, instrumentation generate or present stimulus to the subject. which is a vital part of the human instrumentation system. The stimulus may be in form of visual, okay, or some auditory, okay, or some sort of direct application of the signals to the patient. So like that, we can apply the different stimulus signals to the patient. The next one is transducer. So transducers. So all of you know that transducer is a device which converts the one form of energy or the signals to another form. So man instrument system uses each transducer for production of the electrical signals that are in analog form. Okay. So the transducers may measure the temperature, pressure, flow, or any of the other variables that can be found in the body. But its output is always in electrical signals. So we can measure the temperature of the body, pressure, flow, or some any other variable, and these can be found by using the measurement transducer. But output is should be in terms of the electrical form. So two or more transducers may be used simultaneously to obtain relative variation between phenomena. So signal conditioning equipment, the part of the instrument system which amplifies or modifies. So we can use the amplifiers for amplify the signal, or modifiers. We can change the signal strength. Okay. So in any other ways, changes the electrical output of transducer called signal conditioning or signal processing equipment. So these are used to combine or relate the outputs of two or more transducers. For each item of signal conditioning equipment, both the input and output of the are electrical signals, although the output signal is greatly modified with respect to the input. Signal conditioning equipment is to process the signals from transducers in order to satisfy the functions of the system and to prepare the signals suitable for the operating the display or recording equipment.